As riders, we seem to create an identity around being a rider or being an equestrian. But for so many riders, especially those who have left riding for a little while, lapsed riders, they tend to get very wound up in an identity that actually doesn't really serve them anymore. And it's that identity that can actually block them from getting back in the saddle. If you have been trying to get back to regular riding and you just don't know how to do it, today is the day for you, because I'm going to give you a really, really, really simple way you can do this week and you can be back in the saddle. Okay, let's go. Hey there, and welcome to the Daily Strides podcast. My name is Lorna Leeson. I'm an equestrian trainer and coach, and I work with riders from all over the world, helping them go from not having the confidence to work with their horse to being able to actually improve their riding and work with their horse, especially if they don't have a trainer or coach. Okay, and this week I want to talk about something that even if you are not lapsed, okay, if you're currently riding and you're riding regularly, this is going to be of benefit to you, because I think that there are a lot of riders who are actually allowing maybe some mental blocks, okay, some old identities hold them back from doing what they want to do when it comes to their riding. Now, if you have stopped riding, it's possible that you stopped for a whole host of reasons. There are so many reasons riders stop riding, okay? Sometimes it is circumstantial. Sometimes it is the situation you found yourself in. Sometimes just the fun went out of it for you. Whatever the reason you found yourself not riding anymore, it is really, really important to recognize that that is just one part of your story, okay? That's like a chapter. And you can now close that chapter, you can end it, and you can start a new chapter that actually goes the way you want it to go with regards to your riding. That is not the whole story. That was just part of it. We need to understand that when we pick up and when we turn the page and when we start the new chapter, very often our mind is going to go, no, this doesn't feel good. Stop, okay? You have to be aware of that, because the discomfort is going to come in and you need to be ready for that in order to continue on with what you actually do want to do. So my first suggestion for you today would be to first of all consider, is the reason still valid? Okay, so if you've stopped riding, I'm assuming it was for a reason. Again, there's so many different reasons, okay? It could have been an injury. And if that's the case, maybe it is a more long-term or a chronic injury. And yes, then the reason is still valid, okay? There we go. Check that box off, okay? But very often our situation will actually have changed from when we stopped riding, and yet we continue to repeat that story, the story of why we stopped riding. We go on and on and on about it, but that's not actually influential where you are right now anymore. It's changed. Your story has changed. Your situation, it's changed. Your situation has changed. Everything about it, the circumstances have changed. So it's important to then begin to, first of all, realize that and then begin to tell a new story, okay? Now, even if you are in the position where, you know what, there was an injury, or maybe it was confidence, okay? Maybe you lost your confidence and you're like, oh, well, that's not changed. I'm still like not feeling great about getting into the saddle. That's great. That's fine. There is no problem with that. I wouldn't say it's great, okay? But that's fine. There's no problem with that at all. But it is important to just realize that that's there. And also that from this point, you can begin to make realistic plans going forward, okay? There's no point in making plans and they're absolute pie in the sky, because there are limitations still in place. The same limitations that actually caused you to stop riding in the first place, they are still very much alive and well, and they're right there in the way, blocking your road, you can then rather think about different ways to work around those limitations. Okay, so that's really important. So if we think about getting back into the saddle, it is important to consider how it's going to make you feel. Okay, now what I'm going to suggest you do, and you can do this right now today, you don't need to have a horse. Okay, I'm going to suggest finding somewhere nice and quiet where you can be by yourself, you can be uninterrupted. Okay, so not too busy, kind of nobody running in and out, nobody's going to barge in and ask you a question. It's just you and yourself, and you're sitting there and you are going to begin to become present inside of your own body. And I know that sounds like a really strange thing, but bear with me with this one, okay? So just being very present inside of your own physical body, okay? So take a moment, settle in, get comfy, find where it feels nice for you. And then from there, you're beginning to basically notice in your body where you are potentially holding on to maybe some tension, okay? And then all I want you to do is to release it, okay? Just notice it and then release it. So you may notice that your shoulders are just a little bit too high. They've crept up there to your ears. Just release it, okay? You may have noticed your fingers, maybe you're a little bit clenched. Just let them go. Let it flow, okay? And let it all out from there. And then what you're going to do is from this point, okay, you can then begin to think about riding again. Because when you use your energy to begin reconnecting with riding and with your horse again, it's really, really important that you figure out and you become very, very clear on what energy you're actually bringing to the conversation, okay? If you're bringing a whole load of baggage with you, it's probably not going to be a great conversation you're going to have with your horse, okay? So we need to really and truly think about this. So find neutral, okay? And then you want to begin imagining your first ride back, or maybe there's something specific you want to work towards. You could think about that. All I want you to do is think about riding, think about what you want to achieve, and then begin to kind of, feel into your body and notice maybe what you can feel. Are there any changes? Remember, there's no rights and wrongs, okay? It is what it is. But what is important is that you can begin to kind of identify any patterns that are holding tension in areas of your body so that you can begin to intentionally dissipate that tension. That's going to become really, really important when you do get back into the saddle. So from there, I think that it's then important to begin thinking about going obviously to your horse and what energy you're bringing to that conversation. Now, if you don't have your own horse, you could maybe ask somebody that you trust and somebody that they trust their horse. It's a reliable soul, and you could work with their horse. Or you could maybe make an appointment at a reputable, keyword in that sentence, riding school. But what I do want is that in the next 7 days, you get a date and a time on your schedule. Okay, I want you to really commit to this. I want you to say, yes, I'm going to do this in 7 days. I'm not asking you to ride the horse, I'm just asking you to go to the horse. That's all. We're not riding the horse. This is just you beginning to reset things and set a good solid foundation. You're laying the groundwork, so to speak, for you to get back into the saddle. And what I'm going to suggest is that before you actually approach the horse on the date at the time that you have made, okay, before you approach the horse, you're going to do that little exercise again. And you're just going to get very present. You're going to kind of feel through your body, figure out what's going on. And then from there, you're going to actually set an intention for the interaction itself. Now, your intention could be as simple as, okay, we're just going to spend 5 minutes together, kind of being in each other's presence without any anxiety or excessive tension creeping into the conversation. That's a great intention. If you find that you're feeling anxious, well, that's a great intention. There you go. If you're finding that you're always feeling rushed and you're feeling stressed and you're feeling almost guilty about being with your horse, well, that's a good intention. Let's try and rewire that. Let's try and get a different story going regarding horses and regarding you being at the horse, okay? Your intention could be something a little bit more complex. It could be, okay, I'm going to spend 15 minutes and I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to do some simple groundwork exercises. That's great. I think what's important to realize is that getting back to riding does not have to mean jumping straight into the saddle and training. Getting back to riding can mean doing groundwork. It can mean doing the lunging. It can mean doing the long lining, okay? It's just being around the horse with a specific intention in mind, and that you are being mindful of yourself while you're with the horse. That's getting back to riding. That is going to then begin to create these little sparks of curiosity every now and then, where you say, oh, maybe I could mount up, or, ooh, I remember how that used to be, or, oh, I wonder could I do that now if I mounted up. You'll notice them. There'll be little, just initially small little nudges. And that is where we want, okay? If riding is something that has become this big thing that you can't seem to make happen, start small. You're going too big. Take it back, okay? Work on you. Work on what you can work on, which is you, your energy, and how you are showing up for your horse. But I do think that if you have this intention and if it includes exercises, I definitely would suggest having a bit of a plan in mind for that, okay? I think that's important as well. Your intention is really going to help to anchor you throughout the session with your horse. You'll find that you can kind of return to it when you remember to. You can keep just bringing it back. And what it's going to do is to help you keep on track and stay on track and actually move towards perhaps a bigger vision or a goal that you have for your riding going forward with this new chapter, okay? So I think it's really exciting. But yeah, that's where we want to go. And then from there, you're going to begin just creating the connection with your horse. It's always lovely when you have somebody that's working with you on something, okay? Somebody who's as enthusiastic, a team member that's there with you and they're plugging away with you and the two of you are doing it together. It feels good, okay? It not only feels good, it also helps to keep you accountable, because you don't want to let that other team member down. You want to kind of show up and be your best version. So it's good for the team. Everybody gets to benefit from this. Well, when you build a connection with your horse, you actually get to do that with your horse, especially if you don't have somebody on the ground helping you, like an instructor or a trainer or a coach on a regular basis. The connection with your horse is actually what's going to help you to create your own little team, your own little accountability squad, and it'll keep the two of you moving forward together. So I think that energy work, and really intentional energy work, is actually one of the best ways to do this. It increases the bond, the partnership, the trust, whatever you want to call it, so that you and your horse can show up for both yourselves, but also each other. And that's really important when things get challenging, because there will be days when it will feel challenging. But when you know that you're part of a team, that the two of you are working together, I think that's really, really, really special. So you could start working on maybe exercises where you and your horse are beginning to maybe work more in sync with each other or in rhythm with each other, okay? That would be a great way to do this again. And again, it doesn't have to involve riding. You can do all of this on the ground. But what's really important is that the energy you're bringing to it is different. You're not going with that energy of, I gave up horse riding. Well, whippity do that. You gave up horse riding. Build a bridge. Okay, that was then. This is now. Now you're starting something else. Okay, you're doing something new. The page has turned. Okay, in fact, this is a new book. Forget about the old book. We're on a new book now, okay? So I think that it's really, really important to recognize that as well, and that you and your horse can actually then begin to move forward together. Now, if you would like more help to do this, I'm going to invite you this week. So this is quite timely as you're listening to this, but I'm hosting a free webinar, a free live training on this. It's called the Energy Connection, and it's basically about how you can begin to create more of a connection with yourself, which then is going to help you have a more positive influence when it comes to working with your horse. If that's something that you're keen to find out more about, I'm going to suggest you pop over to stridesforsuccess.com/energy. All of the details are there. It's absolutely free. I'd love to have you. We actually ran it last week as well. It was really, really great. I got great feedback. So I'm running it again for this week. I would love for you to be there if you can make it. So you can get all the details over at stridesforsuccess.com/energy. And if that is not what you want, but you do want something to help you to spend more intentional time with your horse, go over and get 50 plus ideas that you can do with your horse in 15 minutes or less. They're all lovely, sorted out, categorized for you. You can find all the details and get it for free over at stridesforsuccess.com/15. And that's the number 15, 15. You can get it there. And finally, if there is another equestrian that you know of, another rider, whether they be lapsed or not, who you think would benefit from this, from the Energy Connection webinar or the sheet with all those ideas that they can do with their horse, maybe to just inspire them to do something different, to get outside the comfort zone, to build new connections with their horse, won't you please do me a favour and share it with them? You would absolutely make my day. And if you've already done that, I just want to say a huge thank you. I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Have a great day. Keep well, and I'll chat to you soon. Be good. Bye.